Hello, how's everyone doing tonight? So welcome to the Finding Phoenix webinar. Tonight we're going to be talking about cherry picking stocks in 2019. So let's go ahead and start off by talking about you. Number one, why are you here tonight? What are you hoping to learn and what can I help you achieve? I would love to see some comments. I am doing excellent. Because you like my presentations. Thank you, Jill. Pick winners, your date canceled. Find good stocks, trade money, learn more, consistent returns. That's right. Consistency with profits, good swing setups, need to make money, always trying to learn. To get rich, control risk. Awesome. Well, it sounds most excellent. So I just want to start off by saying, honestly, there's no secret to success. At the end of the day, what it is it's just a result of preparation, hard work, and learning from failure. And these three key points are exactly what we are going to be talking about today. So over the course of this webinar, what I'm going to cover are, number one, just a little bit about me. I know most of you probably already know me. How many of you in here have been in any of my classes, webinars, or the like? Because, I don't need to go drowning on about myself if we are already acquainted. Excellent. It's always a little hard to tell from a webinar. Cool. So I'll just do a quick introduction for those of you who haven't met me before. And we'll continue moving on. But these are all the topics that we're going to be talking about tonight. So number one, why are we looking for the Phoenix? Why is this so critical for 2019? Very, very important here. Actually, I guess that's number two. Number three, what is a Phoenix stock and why it's so critical to find? Number four, the Phoenix folio. This is very, very important because this is where I look for those hot Phoenix stocks and how I find them. Because, really, at the end of the day, the stock market is huge. So you really have to be able to narrow it down and be able to look in the correct spots to identify where you can find your hot Phoenix stock. I'm super excited that you're here tonight with me, and let's go ahead and get started. So number one, why must we change our ways? This is very, very important. People email me, send me messages, talk to me in the chat room all the time and ask me, hey, Danielle, over the course of the last few months, things have changed, and what do we do now? What can we do at this point? Well, it goes down to this. There's just a few basic overall market movements, okay? And this realistically is what we have been accustomed to, an easy, directional, trend-following market. It's great. Personally, it's my favorite. We also have a choppy market environment, which is just fine for trading options, but for me, I consider it a little bit boring. This is the market condition that I would consider us to be in now. It's a lot more volatile than normal. We have some crazy whips. But you know what that means? It just means that there's a lot of precision required. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Of course, you also have a downtrending market, but at this moment in time, not too critical to focus on that. So let's talk about shifting strategies. During the majority of my trading career, and I don't know about all of you that are here, but the market has pretty much gone straight up. But over the course of the last year, some things have changed and we must adjust. So let's look at the good old days. This is a chart from the S&P from last year. This type of chart I know and love so well. What do? You just buy every single dip. The market goes up. Most stocks go up with it. It's all well and good. You just find some squeezes in here and there you have it. Nice directional market. But the fact of the matter is this really isn't a normal market condition. And at this point in time, things have changed. And, as John would say, what we're experiencing right now is much more of a, quote, normal market condition. So this is a chart of the S&P futures from the high that was made in September of 2018. And I mean, if you just compare this to the previous uptrend, as you can see, it is quite a bit crazier. So what do we have to do as traders? We have to adapt. We have to change. We cannot do things the same way or we are going to lose money. So I'm going to go through this part a little bit quickly. Just wanted to introduce myself really quick. My name is Danielle. I'm the Director of Options and Head of Foundation. I'm excited to see some Foundation members here tonight. I'm really excited about that. You may have seen me in a couple of these different places. I was a contributor to John's last edition of Mastering the Trade. You can find my trading journey in there, along with a couple different setups that I like to use, in addition to some of these experiences that I've had and appearances over the course of the last year on Fox, Benzinga, RT, and the like. So, you know, this is what my life was like 6 years ago. I hung out with my son. I traded at home. I had a baby waking up with me, laying in bed in the morning, listening to Henry right there at Market Open. And now, 6 years later, I'm suddenly, someone asked me for my autograph, which was cool, doing TV, going to the New York Stock Exchange, and the like. But I mean, the moral of this story is what this requires is just hard work and studying. So, I mean, if I can do it, you can do it. And I am living proof of that. I was very dedicated to listening and learning from my mentors, primarily John and Henry. And, this is where I'm at today. So at this point in time, I am here to teach you what I have learned as well. So let me ask you a question. Who has been trading less than 10 years? Thank you. Yeah, and I mean, the reality of it is I've been trading less than 10 years, and that doesn't mean that we can't be successful in this market condition. All we have to do is learn how to adapt to this market condition, and that's something that we can absolutely do, and that's what we're going to do here tonight. So, don't worry about that at all. If anybody tells you zero video, so can you try to refresh your screen? Or the browsers that work primarily are going to be Chrome or Firefox. Try a different internet. Investing stocks for over 30 years. That's right. So, I mean, the moral of the story here is if you just started trading, or if you've been doing this for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever, it doesn't matter. I've been doing this for 6 years, and this is where I'm at today. So all you got to do is learn how to adjust to the tide. So let's talk about this. What happened after September 8, 2018? So I've been trained as a trend follower, and I can trade that in my sleep. That's all well and good. All you got to do is, when the market pulls back, you just short it as the trend reverts back to the mean. And I tried to employ that strategy when the market shifted in September. What do you think happened at that point? Do you think that worked? Yeah, I mean, it did for a little while. We had a couple different pullbacks, shorted those, made money. It was all well and good. But then what happened? So let's talk about the problem here. The problem is that in a very strong trending market, a strong trending market will carry most stocks higher, okay? It'll just go nice, ebb and flow. And, 85% of stocks are going to go with it, and it's going to be great. But what happens is when you have a more volatile market, it's the equivalent of having a baseball team that instead of having a ton of stars on this team, you have a bunch of rookies, and most likely a star or two. Well, it's not a terrible situation, of course. I mean, your rookies are going to learn. That's great and well. But the problem is you have to utilize your star. Well, that is the exact situation that we're in with the market right now. So when you ask me, is it a good time to trade? Yes, it is a good time to trade. But this is the critical piece. You absolutely have to figure out who is the star, what is the stock that you want to put your money on. So Over the course of this process, I had an epiphany. I was spending so much time comparing stock charts, trying to figure out, let's do research in all these baskets and stocks and everything, but it took forever. I was spending 2 to 3 hours a night doing all my research to figure out what is the best stock. Then I had an idea. I thought, what if I could compare the sectors, the stocks, and the ETFs that I wanted to compare at the same time on the same chart? That would enable me to see more clearly what's really going on, and then I would be able to find the Phoenix. So let's talk about this for a second. What is a Phoenix? Let's talk about finding a Phoenix. How many of you have heard about the legend of the Phoenix? That's right. It's the bird that rises from the ashes at the end of the lifestyle. The Phoenix builds itself a nest of cinnamon twigs, and then it ignites. Both the nest and the bird burn fiercely and are reduced to ashes, from which a new young Phoenix arises. Okay? This is the bird that is said to regenerate when hurt or wounded by a foe, and thus being almost immortal and invincible. It's a symbol of fire and divinity. All right, so what does that mean when we relate it to stocks? Well, you have to understand, in a volatile stock environment, there's going to be many moments in time where the market gets hit, okay? So what does that mean for us as traders? There are always going to be stocks that are the strongest in the bunch, that no matter how hard they get knocked down, they rise back up. Of course, looking back, it's pretty easy to notice them after it's already happened, but that's the entire problem here. That's not how you make money. You have to be able to identify them when they show their strength at the very beginning, when they rise from the ashes. So here's a snapshot of the Phoenix Finder. What we have is essentially a chart that is the S&P, and then I compare multiple different stocks, sectors, really whatever you want down at the bottom, okay? You can compare it quickly and accurately. Everybody knows about this downfall, right? How many people during this moment in time were saying, when should I buy? Right? So that was the key question. Every single person and every appearance that I had. Yes, and you were scared, right? Exactly, you were scared. And everybody was looking at the market. Oh my gosh, when's it going to turn around? And I asked myself the same thing. And what you need to know is when the market is falling, or at the same time when it's rising, is when the shift actually occurs, okay? What is the best way that you can come in and say, okay, I'm not going to call the exact perfect low. We know that, we recognize that, but we need to know when the shift happens, what are the strongest horses to put our money on? Because when the market falls like that, you don't want to come in and buy cheap stocks. You don't want to come in and buy something that is just going to continue to tumble. You want to put your money on the best bet. So by comparing the trend across multiple sectors and stocks, you're able to see where the downfall stops and where the trend higher starts. So think of it like a stoplight: red light, yellow light, green light. Which one's shifted to yellow, then to green first? And the triangle, by the way, is the trigger. So within this, we have the discretionary and communication sector, XLC and XLY, that had the first instances of money flow coming into these sectors. That told us that, you know what, when the market started to trade higher, you should have focused on those areas of the market and found a spot in those areas to put your money in, okay? Because I mean, that's at the end of the day, it's where are you gonna place your bet? So, I don't really like to think of this as an indicator. I think it's more of like a research process. So basically, at the end of the day, it helps me get my work done in about 1/4 of the time. Previous to trying to compare stocks and sectors across the same screen, I was spending hours a day researching, and it just, I mean, it takes a lot. It takes a lot out of you. You really want to be able to make your picks, wake up, and slay the market. Previously, the main thing that I like to use was watch list, right? So when you're looking at a watch list every day, you can see the percentage changes and all of that. But it's difficult to compound that on a day-by-day basis. So what is the Phoenix Finder? My tool that I've created is called the Phoenix Finder. It's every trader's research tool, and it helps assist them and identify the strongest bets at a glance. You can use it on specific charts, and you can enable a trader to analyze the trend strength on an individual chart and determine entries and exits. So let me go through some examples, because I can show you many different examples where I wish I would have had this. So let's talk about that. The funny part about the Phoenix Finder is that I invented it based on mistakes. So let me go ahead and have a few moments of humility where I show you some trades that I took that did not work out in my favor. So anybody had a couple trades that didn't work out for them the last few months? A few, right? So for example, like I told you, I've always been a trend follower. So this is a chart of XLF, the financial sector ETF. Basically, you know, once it made the trend shift here, it was trending lower, lower, lower. So once it came up to here, I thought, okay, this is great. I have a fib cluster right here. I'm going to short this. I'm going to short JP Morgan. I'm going to short XLF. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 instances where it hits resistance. So I have a great idea. Let me go ahead and short that there. At the time, it seemed like a great plan. But what I didn't take into account was the hidden strength. So this is a chart of the S&P. And now we're going back to that comparison of the sectors. And we're saying, okay, well, I wanted to short XLF because it traded directly up into resistance. Okay, that's great. But the reason why it traded directly into resistance was because it was so strong. So XLF triggered to the upside almost immediately after the downfall that we saw in the S&P, which really just foreshadowed the strength that it saw. The way that you read this is you want to see the number one, the triangle for a trigger, but you also want to see the amount of squares. So when you have the squares plus the green, that is a very strong trend. Okay, and you have the initial trigger down at the very bottom. And so what that told me was, hey, guess what? I just shorted the strongest one in the bunch. And if I would have taken into account the comparative strength, I would have seen that that was a bad idea. Same thing with Nike. So when Nike was trading lower, I had my fibs here. It was all great. Had a nice area of resistance, shorted it, and then look, it just goes off flying. And I was looking at this saying, well, I should have been buying it at the lows, but how would I have known that I needed to buy it at the lows instead of sell it when it got to resistance? Because if you go back and you look at the chart and the way that it seemed at that time, it looked like a great short until boom, it was a Phoenix and I didn't even know. So if I would have known that it was a Phoenix, I would have bought it instead. And after I came up with this comparative strength idea, I realized that, you know, comparing the different stocks within the discretionary sector, I can now see that Nike is a beast. Nike triggered to the long side before any of the stocks within XLY, and it should have been bought pretty much the day after Christmas. So there's a couple examples. There's a couple examples for you of a couple different things that happened to me and as to why I came up with the whole idea. But I mean, really at the end of the day, what I was trying to do was I was trying to copy one of my mentors. What do you want to do in the stock market? You always, always, always want to be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful. You need to find a way to identify those turning points. So what is the new process? Well, I mean, this is the same process that I've always had. It just makes it a little bit quicker. So where do I start? Let's talk about my Phoenix folio. Where and how do I identify areas of the market to look for trades? So it's very, very critical. I mean, you have to think of it like a gold mine, okay? If you want to go searching for gold, you can't just go up to some random cave and look for gold. No, you have to know where to look. You have to know how to find it. These are my favorite mines when it comes to looking for stocks. So I have number 1, Grandma loves it. Number 2, the Phoenix Flyers. Number 3, the dependable dollars. Number 4, the honey badger don't care. And then the protect your assets. More to come on this later, but essentially, I mean, these are my favorite areas to look for stocks. So first of all, here's me and my grandma. She's absolutely amazing. She's 88 years old, and she's an excellent stock picker. And I named this one, the Grandma Loves It, because this is the category of stocks that, you know, you're sitting at Thanksgiving dinner, you're talking to your relatives, and these are the companies that everyone knows about, right? Microsoft, Amazon, you know, essentially the Super Bowl stocks, Apple. And these are the stocks that everyone knows and loves, right? And it's so funny because I called my grandma today and I said, Grandma, is it okay if I use your picture in my webinar? And she was so happy. And I asked her, what is your favorite stock? And do you know what she said? So it was really funny because my favorite stock is actually Amazon. That's exactly what she picked, Amazon. So she picked Amazon and O'Reilly. And then we laughed about that because I told her that I love O'Reilly. And she said, oh, that's so sweet. So anyways, this is essentially the sector spider list, okay? So the sector spider list is the Grandma Loves It list. It's, you know, we can research on sector spider. We can find our top weighted products. We can absolutely trade those, compare them, and here you go. So here's my list of the Grandma Loves It list, essentially. So number 1, this is XLK. So we have XLK, and within that, we can compare Microsoft, Apple, Visa, Intel, Cisco, MasterCard, Oracle. At a glance, I can see the strongest right here. Okay, so what does that tell me? It tells me that every single time one of those stocks has a setup, that is what I need to buy. All right, because you have a lot of options, right? You have so many options and you can't, it's incredibly difficult. So you have to compare them against each other and you have to pick the best one. So what about the Phoenix Folio Part 2? All right. This is the Phoenix Flyers. These are the risky but worth it names. These are the ones where you say, you know what? I wish I had bought Tesla for $35 in 2013 and it's now 321. Or the person who bought Apple for $7.49 a share back in 2005. That's my dad, Father Stevie, and me trading with him. How do you do that? How are you that person that buys Apple for $7.49 a share and now you own it in 2019 for an exponential price? Well, if that's what you're looking to do in this age right now, we have to come down and narrow down the hot topic industries, okay? What are those right now? Here are a couple of my favorites. We've got the cloud kings, okay? The cloud is huge. Everything is going to the cloud, but because of that, you can't just buy any cloud company because everything is going to the cloud. You have to identify the best in breed. What about semiconductors? Anybody know what a semiconductor is? I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if you understand exactly what it is, but semiconductors are used in phones and computers everywhere. And do you know how technology is just going to continue expanding? There's not going to be less technology. There's going to be more. And because everything is going to the cloud, what does that mean? We need data centers to run the clouds, okay? So all of these companies, I mean, these are the hot flyers right now. And so we're going to look at them in detail and we're going to narrow them down. And of course, there's some others. I mean, I like healthcare. Healthcare is always going to be, I think, a hot industry, but it still is right now. But at the end of the day, we have to narrow them down to companies that are fundamentally and technically sound. So I introduced to you my Cloud King list. So, you know, you can start out and, you know, these lists are, it takes a while to come up with them because you really have to compare the, compare the fundamentals and the technicals. But at the end of the day, you can clearly see which ones are the best picks, all right? And you can go through this and you can say, all right, well, should I use this for stocks? Should I use it for options? And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. I mean, I've been using this for both. I mean, adding stock, especially in something like Salesforce, Team, Now has been a great one. But when you're trading options, it's particularly important to be able to compare these stocks and to say which ones are the best. Here's a list of hot semiconductor stocks right now. And overwhelmingly, I have a couple of favorites. AVGO especially. So AVGO, Cree, Glob, Xilinx definitely. But by going back and being able to compare when they trigger, you can see, you know, this was the spot. And the most important part is, you know, by being able to use a trend continuation strategy because you know these were the phoenixes, because these stocks rose from the ashes after this disastrous 2018 December, we know that they are good picks, okay? And, you know, I really don't want to get into too many of the trades. But I mean, for those of you who are in the trading room, here are two of the trades that I used based on the Phoenix Finder. Xilinx was one of them, and LRCX was another. Why? Because these were Phoenix stocks, the best in breed. Then they gapped up after earnings and just ran off. And those made for not only great options trades, but they also make great stocks picks as well. So let's talk about, does this work in reverse? When to short a dying Phoenix? Yes, let's talk about this right now. My voice is fading. Awesome. Yes, there is recording. There's always a recording. So let's talk about this, the dependable dollars section. Who wants some stocks in their portfolio that are some dependable dollars? Right? So let's talk about this for a minute. When I first found out about the industries that millennials have killed, I had to have myself a nice laugh. But then I started looking more into it, and it's actually a really important, it's actually something really important that we have to take into account in our trading, okay? So overall, over the course of time, of course, we have generational shifts, all right? Different generations spend their money on different things. And at the end of the day, when you have an entire generation that is changing the way they spend their money, it is going to impact different companies. So what are those companies? Is your portfolio Yes, hotels is another one that they're killing. They killed Harley Davidson. Yes, that's absolutely correct. So the funny part about this is, I mean, we can set up our portfolios knowing this, but you have to have that knowledge. So on average, millennials spend money on airline tickets, Uber, Payment processors. I mean, think about the age of online shopping, okay? When you're shopping on Amazon, you can't pay with cash. One of the main things that millennials have killed is using cash. But what does that mean? That means that we can make money with stocks such as payment processors. And this one actually was Henry's pick. It's an awesome pick. PayPal. PayPal has come up with Venmo. You can send your friends money over your phone. Very easy. And then, online shopping. And what does online shopping lead us to? UPS, FedEx. Okay, so we have the idea. That's great. But at the end of the day, you have to narrow them down, actually look at the charts. So Save is one of the ones that blows my mind. I don't know that if you have flown Spirit Airlines, but Spirit Airlines is a 5-star chart, okay? And it's a Phoenix. Why? Because it barely dipped in 2018. And it just continues right on to new all-time highs. Spirit Airlines is one of the cheapest airlines out there. That is another one that millennials are funding, quite frankly. And we have to talk about, at the same time, these once dependable companies that were great long-term stock plays that are getting killed by millennials, okay? So I had a TV segment, and it was about Kellogg. And the chart, I mean, it was just, dying a death. I think I have it on the next screen. And they asked me, what is happening with Kellogg? This used to be just such a major American brand. And Tyson Foods, okay? What does Tyson Foods make? They have canned food. Millennials do not eat canned food. And you can see that in the chart, all right? Canned food, cash, American cars. I say this, but I have 2 Fords, and I personally love them, but apparently not very favored with millennials. Kellogg, I mean, look at that, dying a death. Millennials like to eat avocado toast, cereal, and the like. So at the end of the day, Derek, I love your comment. Millennials love weed. I mean, to be honest, it's a growing industry. So frozen dinners, not canned. Yeah. So at the end of the day, what it means for us as investors is that you need to be able to identify the shifting trends. And I mean, this is something that the comments are awesome right now. Fix or repair daily. So something else, and I mean, something else that millennials do particularly is repair cars versus buy new ones. Okay, so what does that tell us? Well, pull up a chart of O'Reilly, pull up a chart of Advanced Auto Parts. These tickers are incredibly strong, and you will see that American-made cars and most car manufacturers are trending lower. So so funny. I love your comments. So, okay, here's the thing is, these are a couple different industries that I've come up with that I like to look at. What are your favorite industries? We've already talked about a little bit about the weed stocks, whether or not, whatever side you're on of that, at the end of the day, it's a new ETF industry that has a potential for growth. And then we also have a couple different ideas here. Honey Badger don't care. For those of you who, of course, follow John, these are the stocks that do not care what the overall market is doing. And these stocks are climbing higher regardless. Investors Business Daily is another great list to get stocks from. But, we can use the Phoenix Finder to compare the best honey badgers. Again, earnings bets. Identifying strength or weakness before earnings. Yeah, I picked AMD before earnings. Yes, I have been bullish on AMD. Absolutely. And AMD was one of my favorite 2X moves after earnings as well. I love trading AMD because it's one of my Phoenixes. So what I do when I find the Phoenixes, and honestly, the most difficult part is the overall The most difficult part is the overall research, okay? Once you get your grid set up, once you have your ideas down, once you find your phoenixes, you can trade those stocks over and over and over again. And if you want to buy stock, when it falls down, you buy it again. If you want to trade options, you wait for a setup and you buy it again and again and again. So, you know, the legwork is the hardest part, but after that, you're just repeating yourself. You're repeating the same process over and over again. Again, another one, made in China, great option. Great option to make a Chinese internet stock list like Alibaba, Baidu. And at the same time, what are some honey badger examples like Etsy? So Etsy is one that we've been watching. Doesn't really fit into any particular sector or anything like that, but overall, great pick, something that millennials love. And we can talk about a couple more of those as well. Chaikin is a great resource too. So let's talk about what we've learned today. Number one, the market has made a fundamental shift. This is not going to go away anytime soon. We absolutely have to adapt our strategies in the market or else it is going to eat us alive. The secret to using volatility to make money in the stock and options market. Yes, Ulta is another great one as well. So here's my mission. I want to help you take full advantage of the profit potential available to options traders, stock traders, ETF traders as well. I want to teach you how to follow a simple strategy that has changed my life. I want to help you become consistently profitable even if you've never traded options before. So where does that leave us? Yes, gaming stocks. And what other stock baskets would you like to look at? I mean, that's the best part of the Phoenix stocks. So of course, for those of you who know, does it show breakout strength? It does absolutely show comparative strength. So after this, I've shown you the Phoenix, I've shown you how it works, I've shown you how I use it. Next, what we have are several different options. I'm going to be teaching a strategy class on February 16th. It's going to include the Phoenix Finder indicator. Next, after that, I have a pro package that's going to include not only the strategy class, but the indicator as well as 2 live trading days. The third option is going to be the elite package that includes our Austin mentorship. So every, once or twice a year we have an Austin mentorship that we have an Austin mentorship where our group of traders comes together. We talk trading, we learn strategy. At the Austin mentorship, we are going to have a specific Phoenix breakout group for those of you who choose this package. But if that's not what you're looking for, just check out the strategy class. We have a strategy class on February 16th. It's going to be a 4-hour class, usually go over. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to talk about this tool. We're going to set up our charts. We're going to outline all of the different industry baskets. I'm going to give you my select list. So I'm going to give you my Grandma Loves It list, my Phoenix Flyers list. I'm going to give you the list of things that millennials are killing, as well as the companies that we need to be looking at because of the generational shifts that are happening and what we need to invest in order to make money. So it's going to come with the indicator. It's going to come with all my grids. It's going to come with at least 4-hour explanation of the whole process and how we can make money in 2019. Let grandma speak for 10 minutes at least. That is amazing. Is it Thinkorswim format download? Yes, it is a Thinkorswim format download. It is on Thinkorswim and TradeStation. Is there another future date if February 16th is not a good date? So everything that we do is recorded. We never repeat classes. So if you would like to attend the class, but you cannot make it on that date, the best thing to do is purchase the class and watch the recording. Who is doing the live trading? Me, and maybe I can snatch John. When are the live trading days? The live trading days are going to be the 19th and 20th of February. All right, so make sure you go to simplertrading.com/Phoenix and you can read about all of the packages. Also, if you are one of the first 250 to purchase the Pro package, you are going to get a special day trading session on February 21st for 3 hours with me, where I teach you how to day trade using the Phoenix Finder. The indicator, Danielle, the indicator automatically pulls those great stocks and ranks them according to past performance. So there's a couple different options here. One of the best parts about the Phoenix Finder is it's completely customizable. So I'm going to give you my initial list with my initial rankings, but at the same time, you are completely able to customize it yourself and create your own industry. You create your own industry lists based on whatever you would like to look at. What am I going to include? So I'm going to include, let's go back. These are the lists that I'm including. These are my favorite lists. The Grandma Loves It list, the Phoenix Flyers, the Dependable Dollars, the Honey Badger Don't Care, and the Protect Your Assets. So there are lots of questions going by. I'm trying to answer them the best that I can. I want to spend a day with your dad. It looks like the apple didn't fall far from the tree. Oh, that's sweet, Derek. Thank you, Dan. Is the tool only for day trading, or is it also for trades lasting days and weeks? So that's the best part about it. You can use it on any time frame. You can use it on a daily time frame. You can use it on a 5-minute time frame. You can use it on a weekly time frame. Any of these options, it absolutely works for. Does the Phoenix automatically rank itself according to relative strength? No, it does not. You manually input the stocks, and then using the strategy, you look to determine which stocks are the strongest using my step-by-step checklist. What other indicators do you use to confirm your trades? I like to use the moving average cross. I'm also going to teach the candlestick pattern that I use to enter and exit my trades. But for the most part, I mean, you really don't need much else in addition to the tool. What if you don't use Toss or TradeStation? Typically, if you don't have Thinkorswim or TradeStation, what we recommend is that traders, you can always download a free version of Thinkorswim, put the indicator on there. You don't even have to switch your money into Thinkorswim or anything like that. You can just use your Thinkorswim for the charting platform. Do you need to subscribe to the indicator? No. Do you use the Ready Aim Fire with the Phoenix? Yes, I always use the Ready Aim Fire, but as far as this strategy is concerned, it's pretty much a standalone strategy. What do the red and green dots signify? Let's go back. So the candlesticks are demonstrating the strength of the trend. The candlesticks are based on the Fibonacci series moving averages, okay? The 5, the 8, 13, the 21, and 34. And based on the position of the moving averages, if they're stacked or if they're not stacked, these are how the candles populate the colors, which show you the overall trend. So basically, I mean, the light green, very, very strong, pulls back. The yellow is a little bit of a heads up, but then it continues higher, pulls back to support, continues higher. This is where you have a break in trend. And at this point, you have a trend shift. So this tells you to now look for resistance, and this is part of what we teach in the class, right? So teaching in the class, I mean, that's how we're going to, we'll teach in the class how you actually use the indicators. But at the end of the day, what it is a comparison of trend strength. So the Phoenix Finder, it pulls the information from the candles and from the moving averages, and then it populates it into the overall grid. I have the 10x indicator color, candlestick coloring is from there. No, the 10x is based on momentum and conviction strength. This is based on Fibonacci number series, as well as relation of the moving averages. No, these are not grab candles. Since the class is recorded, can I listen to it an unlimited number of times? If not, how long is the recording available? Once you purchase a class with us, it is always available to you. You can listen to it as many times as you want. You have a separate login, so even if you don't have a subscription with us, you can always go back and watch your class. Are these candles already in toss? No, these are new candles. The primary focus here is definitely this guy. The candles are the trend strength candles. And you know, we're putting them together because they go together. So the candles go together with the Phoenix Finder, because as you can see, the colors here and the price movement here is mirrored down in here. Yes, the candles are included. It looks like some of the triangles didn't work out as planned. So it's not just the triangle. While the triangle is one major piece, at the end of the day, throughout the class, we will go through how to completely analyze the chart. So we're going to talk about how to analyze the overall market movement, how to analyze the overall chart, and how to use the tool to make the best trades. So what I'm trying to say is, yes, the triangles are important, but you have to take the rest of the pattern into account. So more than likely, over the course of a couple of the triangles, you'll look at the overall pattern and say, hey, this fit the setup or it did not fit the setup. Do you have the list for each industry for the Phoenix, or do we need to make it ourselves? Yes, I do have a list for each industry of the Phoenix, and you can also make them yourself. So, best of both worlds. Is that a Monday and a Tuesday for the class? No, it's a Tuesday and Wednesday, because that Monday is a holiday. So the strategy class is going to be on Saturday, February 16th for 4 hours. And then the pro class that includes the basic and the live trading and the Phoenix Finder tool is going to be Saturday the 16th plus February the 19th and 20th. And like I said, if you were one of the first 250 to buy, you are going to get an extra day trade session on the 21st for an extra 3 hours. Can we use the credit? I'm not sure. Definitely contact, call us at 512-266-8659 or contact support@simplertrading.com. Why don't you contact customer service, Jill? Support@simplertrading.com. Support@simplertrading.com. All right, just signed up. Looking forward to the 16th. That's excellent. How much back testing have you done to validate your picks? So I have had this indicator / tool in development over the course of about the last 2 months-ish or so. I've had multiple traders testing, multiple traders within our organization, as well as multiple trusted traders that I know testing the tool. We have made changes, adjustments, made sure it is absolutely up to perfection and ready for all of you. So it has been thoroughly and accurately tested, and it is ready to go, hot off the press. Does Simpler do any face-to-face training? So for the most part, the places that you can find me are in Simpler Foundation. I'm also in the Simpler Options trading room, generally about 5 times a week. The only time that we do the face-to-face training is for members who have purchased our Platinum and Titanium package, which is basically a yearly package. How long do your swing trades generally last using the Phoenix indicator? So typically I trade on about a 3-day to about 2-week time frame. It kind of depends what the overall market is doing. For example, right now the market's pretty extended, so I'm using the Phoenix Finder to identify the best stocks and trading them for breaks to new all-time highs. Now this is more of a shorter time frame setup. It's not the same swing trading setup that I normally do. But that's the great part about this, is that you can use it for multiple different uses and instances. What type of options do you trade with the Phoenix? You can trade any type of options with it. I like butterflies, I like spreads. You can buy long calls, puts. You can also just buy the stock. You can also just buy the ETF. How accurate the tool is. You can go back, and when you get it, I mean, you can go back and test it across different stocks, different time frames, and the like. It is incredibly accurate. Just like anything else, you know, it's not a silver bullet where it's going to be 100% of the time, especially with the trigger triangle. But the part that's the most accurate about it is that it's showing you a shift in trend. And so you can see when a trend shift is strong or when it's weak based on how you read the tool. Do you suggest shorting stocks or only bullish with the indicator? No, you can do both. You can do it both. You can do it both ways. You can short stocks. You can go long as well. But that's why it's so critical that you use the tool, because when you're shorting a stock, you don't want to short the strongest in the bunch. You want to short the weakest in the bunch. So yes, you can most definitely use it to short or go long, but you need to be able to compare. How can this help us see market sentiment? So the best way that you can use it to see market sentiment, see where my grid is, especially when you use it just for the basics, okay? Just for the basics, for the sector spider list, and you're trying to compare the SPX against the sectors. You can start to see if, hey, the whole market, this is a broad market sell-off, or conversely, this is a broad market rise right here. You can also narrow down to see, okay, which sectors have the strongest trend? The dash plus the box equal the strong trend, okay? So what do we have? The spider, XLC starting to drop off a bit, but overwhelmingly XLY, XLF, XLI, and real estate are the strongest, okay? So this is the very, very first thing that I do with this tool, is the market sentiment. So you can use it for the sectors, or you can come in and you can use it for the diamonds, the spider. You can look at oil. You can look at bonds. I mean, literally, whatever you compare every single day, you can come and put that in here, okay? You can look at it on the daily time frame for your overall swing view, and you can go down to your lower time frame charts and you can say, okay, which one is shifting back? Hey, JJ, will you email me? Danielle, sorry, that's not very good writing. Danielle at simplertrading.com, and I'll help you with that. So it's equally as important to determine when the trend starts shifting back to the downside. So when the trend starts shifting back to the downside, what do you want to know? You want to know which sector is losing it first, okay? Because you don't want to put your money there, right? And if you're going to short something, you want to know what the weakest link is. So throughout this comparison on a 30-minute chart, you can see that, you know, all the sectors were pretty much aligned and which ones lost it first. XLF, and XLC. Okay, then you can go down and you can look at the individual charts. And then you can say, all right, well, within XLC, yes, we had a break right here. It's trading lower. Then, and I don't even think I made the XLC grid yet, but you can come in here and basically what I do is I just set up all of my grids, all of my Phoenix Finder grids, and then I compare them and say, all right, well, if XLC is the one that's trading lower, what stock do I want to trade? And, you know, conversely, you can do it the other direction too. So if I'm looking at, you know, my Cloud Kings that are incredibly strong, okay, well, which Cloud King should I trade? Team, Vive, CRM, Adobe, okay, Red Hat. And then, so it's a research tool. So then you go back to your charts and you say, okay, well, if this is telling me that, you know, Red Hat is strong, what do I do? You don't just want to buy it. You need to go back to the chart and then we look for that technical setup. Will I share my screen setup? Yes, definitely. How often do you set up your grid? So in all actuality, it's something that needs to be the main. So here's the thing. It depends on which one you're talking about. If you're talking about the grandma loves it stocks, these are the sector spider stocks that in all actuality are for the most part going to stay the same, okay? But when you get into the rest of the list, like the Cloud Kings and the semiconductors, those are ones that I'm going to be updating. Is there a user guide for the tools? Yes. Can we get any kind of alerts using the tools? So my trades go out to Simpler Options members, as long as you're a gold member. And then for my foundation members, you do get several trades per week in the videos, but we do not have the alert function. So for those of you who are options members, yes, my trades go out like that. You wish I had a grandma like yours. Oh, that's so sweet. She would love that. How soon after the green box do you get in? So that goes back to the overall strategy that we're going to be teaching in the class of what to do when you actually get a green box and how do you act on it. I look at the Phoenix Finder as, like I said, more of a research tool where I look to identify which stocks and sectors are the strongest, and then I drill down to the actual chart to determine an entry. I love that I can compare multiple stocks within any index on the same screen, simple and clean looking. And that's, you know, that was exactly my vision. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Because I mean, at the end of the day, you know, I've got a 5-year-old, I have a husband, I'm very busy, I'm sure, just like all of you. And, you know, I would sit in my office at night and do my research, and you have to do that. If you want to make money in the stock market, you can't just wake up in the morning and hope that you're going to find a good pick first thing. you have to spend time doing your research. So how do you make it quicker? Well, you put it all in one spot. So now it's like, all right, well, clearly Nike, clearly Home Depot, clearly GM has actually gained a lot of strength. And so within that, what did I do? I added Nike and Home Depot to my stock portfolio because I said, all right, Nike and Home Depot are the phoenixes. They rose from the ashes the quickest. And then within that, we look for setups on lower time frames to trade them. And what do you not trade? Forward. Because it doesn't have, you see how all the others have boxes? Anyways, we'll get into all that in the strategy. But the moral of the story is that stock picking is just very, very critical in this day and age. And what you have to recognize is when the trends shift. When will you be able to download it? If you buy it right now, you can download it right now. Whenever you buy it, it's available. So if you go to simplertrading.com/Phoenix right here, or call us at 512-266-8659. You can purchase the strategy class and it is available to you immediately. You can start playing with it. You can adjust your industry groups. You can start testing it out long before the class. So I'm very excited for the class on the 16th. It's going to be awesome. I love teaching classes. I used to be an elementary school teacher, and I love teaching trading. I love trading. I'm going to make it very easy for you with distinct checklists. Yes, everything is recorded. Everything is recorded. So teaching a bunch of traders will be no different for you. What time is the class anyways? That's a great question. I'm thinking around noon. Noon Central Time, I believe. What did the first purchasers receive? The first 250 purchasers that buy the Pro class are going to get an extra 3 hours of live trading that is specifically based on intraday day trading Phoenix Finder style. So everyone who buys the Pro package gets 2 days of live trading, and the first 250 purchasers get 3 days with the special day trade version. Danielle, this is an awesome tool. Right, Sherry? Mm-hmm. I would like to catch the recording of this class. Looks awesome. I'm in Pillars Squeeze, and I'm an options member, just starting out. So need the foundation. I'll layer this on when I'm more familiar. Yes, and you know, the foundation is very, very critical. How many of you are in foundation with me? Will I be showing you how I combine it with fib work? Definitely. You got to love the Phoenix? Yes. I'm so happy to see some of my foundation members in here because I know that, you know, we have a lot of options gold members, fib gold members and whatnot, and all of you get to see us in the live trading environment on a daily basis. And of course, you know, foundation, we don't have that in there. So I'm so happy that you're able to join me for this webinar tonight. Danielle, do you generally trade directional calls and puts with this tool? Yes. Yes, I do. I also trade butterflies, whatnot. I teach so well, I think that my dogs know stock picking. That is so sweet, Jill. Thank you so much. How taxing is this in TOS? So basically, I mean, we have a couple different methods that basically what we're doing in Thinkorswim is, you know, you want to build out all of your grids and then you want to switch between them. So you don't want to have like 5 or 6 grids open at the exact same time. So it is taxing if you have too many open. But for me, I've had about 3 or 4 open along 3 or 4 Phoenix grids open along with another 5 or 6 grids, and mine has worked just fine. But you don't want to link your charts, and you don't want to have more than like 3 or 4 open. So I'm just flipping back and forth. Thank you so much. Yes, Craig, definitely. So how long have I been trading? About 6 years now, and it's been a crazy life transformation. So this is me when I was first learning. That was actually a class that I was taking of John, Henry, and Carolyn. It's called the Bullseye class. And then, yeah, this is me now. So I was on a Fox on Thanksgiving. That was my son looking at it, thinking about how weird it was. I was on TV. I actually have to put all this makeup on, but it's a good time. It's my girlfriend Mandy and I visiting the New York Stock Exchange, John's book, all that good stuff. Thank you so much. Does the tool rank the holdings, or are the numbers in front the symbol? So the tool does not rank them for you, but that's actually really good feedback, and maybe I can see if it can do that. I can get back with Eric and see if that's a possibility. What I have done is I have put them in order. What is the payment link? So you want to go to simplertrading.com, www.simplertrading.com/Phoenix. Go ahead and click on that link. What have you been able to eliminate in order to save time with the Phoenix Finer? I'm not sure what you mean. I mean, really at the end of the day, the research process that I have always done is, go over every single sector, try to determine which one is the strongest. This is the grid that I was using previously, saying, okay, well, which grid is the strongest? Why is this better? And when you're looking at all of them and comparing them, it makes it a lot more difficult because you're going through each one and saying, okay, well, here's the S&P. All right, well, this one crossed right here. That was on January 10th. Okay, great. Well, let's go back in XLC. When was our moving average cross here? Oh, it was on the 8th. Okay. Now let's go back to energy. This one crossed on the 10th. Okay, it's very time consuming and exhausting. So, I mean, that whole process, I used to research, like I said, 2 hours at night at least. But now I have been able to cut that time down significantly to about 30 minutes or so. How much time each day would we need to generally spend using the Phoenix indicator to find the best trades? So I would say that you just decide on what you're looking for. So are you looking for long-term growth? Are you looking for aggressive gains? So in that instance, if you're looking for something like aggressive gains, then I would stick with like the cloud stocks, the semis, the tech stocks. These are the companies that are showing aggressive growth, okay? So within that, then you have, really just 2 grids. And I don't think that it's, I really don't think that it's that time intensive. I mean, just like anything else, you need to figure out the best way to use it. But once you figure out how to use the grid, and then you come down and you say, okay, well, let's look at a 195-minute chart, and I want to look at the top tech stocks. Okay, great. Quick glance, which one has the most green dots? Which one has the most green dots? Okay, great. Salesforce. Salesforce has the most green dots. It triggered the earliest. So it's not just the triangle. I mean, I know I got a question earlier about the triangle. It's not just a triangle. You want to know when it triggered and then how stable it is. Salesforce. Okay, great. Let's look at a Salesforce chart. So if it doesn't have a current setup, you can't buy it right that day just because it's strong. You have to wait for a setup. So that's the point where you then compare it and find like a lower time frame squeeze or something like that. And then, you know, you can go back and like Lisa, like you're asking, okay, well, what about Fib? Well, it's exactly what you do. You combine it with Fib. You can say, okay, well, let's look for a Fibonacci setup right here, or whatever setup you use. Maybe it's a squeeze. Maybe it's something entirely different that's not even from Simpler. You can just use that tool to find the stocks and then look for your setup. Do you have to add stocks in it? Yes. So I will give you the initial grids, and then from there you can also adjust them, add them, whatever you like, because all you have to do is come in here and say, okay, I want to edit the tool. And you can change it to whatever your heart desires. So for example, like when I'm looking at tech, I say, okay, well, what are the strongest? Well, 2 of the trades that I got in today were Cisco. So CRM, I like CRM, but it doesn't have a setup. But you know what does is Cisco. We have a 30-minute squeeze, and that was found from the Phoenix Finder. You have a 30-minute, 78-minute, 2-hour, and weekly squeeze. All right, boom. So you have a lower time frame squeeze on one of your top stocks in the top sectors. So I went ahead and bought long options on Cisco because I know that it's a Phoenix and it has earnings. Danielle, in a year and a half, I've been part of your trading organization. It's absolutely amazing how much you have added and improved, grown the moderators and tools to improve all of us students to learn and become better traders and consistently profitable. I can't thank you enough for all your amazing commitment and dedication. Oh, that's so sweet. I will make money if I stick to grandma's likes. So all the individual sectors can be made into a list and the same as the stocks. Yes. Can this be used with futures and Forex? So the one thing I will say about it is it needs to compare similar products. So you can't compare, for example, a futures product and a stock product because the trading hours are different. So if you're going to compare products, they need to be the same trading hours. So if you wanted to, for example, like in this instance, you would want to compare SPY instead of S&P futures. So you use the Phoenix to identify the stocks to narrow your focus and your fib work. Yes. Do I wait for pullbacks? Yes. I'm working on a scan currently. Danielle, Nike on the Phoenix Finder, it had a red box today, but you indicated long. Can you review? Yes. All right, so what do you guys think? I'm really excited about it. I mean, I've never made a tool before. This is the very first time I've ever done this, and I'm really excited about it, and I love it, and I've been trying to get everybody to use it at work and everything just because it's helped me so much. And do you trade futures? Yes, I do. So like I said, with the futures products, you need to have, and we should get with Eric and talk to that again, but you just need to compare the same products together. So like I said, like you can't compare futures with stocks. Oh, McDonald's. So McDonald's is actually a really good example, Ralph. So basically when you're going back and you're comparing, because what we want to look at is when the shift happened and what triggered higher first. So if you just scroll through here, you have Nike that triggered higher to first. With McDonald's, what you can see is, yes, it did trigger higher, but then it shifted back down. So for example, if you're long McDonald's, and we can go to a McDonald's chart, this is what this tells you. You buy McDonald's, let's say you're long McDonald's, you buy it, all is well and good. But then what happens? It starts shifting. Now on the daily time frame, it's not as easy to see that actual movement happening, but you can go to a lower time frame and you can say, okay, well, I'm long McDonald's, I want to manage my trade. Let's manage it on a 78-minute chart. Oh, look what happens right here. You know, you have a long, 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 and then you have a switch in pattern right here. You have a trend shift. So if you want to use a 78 or if you want to use a 15-minute, that would be, you know, that would be a little bit more, it would tell you sooner. You know what I mean? Signed up for the pro. That's what I love to hear. That's awesome. All right. So I don't know if I can answer any more questions for you. I don't know if Grandma Jean is watching, but I hope so. She just had some, she's a little bit tired past couple weeks, but I was so happy when I got to talk to her about O'Reilly and Amazon and all that. Can I see your question? Will you please type it again? There's a lot of questions going by. Thanks, Ralph. Please, if you didn't get your question answered, I'm trying my best to answer everything. But if I did not answer your question, please just email me at Danielle@simplertrading.com and I will definitely get back to you. How many stocks can we put in the indicator? 15. 15 at a time. So if you want more than 15, you just compare. Unfortunately, I mean, you just make a new grid. Unfortunately, due to my work, I will not be able to capitalize on the pro. Will there be another opportunity for live sessions? So we don't typically redo the live sessions. So if you want the pro, generally the best thing is to watch the recording. But if you can't make the pro, then obviously, I would stick with the basic. But we really don't repeat it. So when we do a class, we really just do it one time. You signed up for the pro as well. Excellent. Does it work on the weekly time frame? Yes. Will Eric come on in the gold members room? Yes. So Eric is going to be doing a special session about how to set up the tool, how to use it, all that good stuff right before the class. You've signed up, but you don't see the Phoenix data there. You mean you didn't get an email? If you didn't get an email after you bought the class, make sure you email support@simplertrading.com. Most likely that's just because of a filter in your email. How would you get updates or revisions? I'm working on a process for that right now. Have you been to my 5-star e-letter? So right now I'm working on how to do the updates. I have an e-letter product, which is 5startrader.com, and I've been trying to figure out how to add the updates into there. I don't have it all worked out right now, but I will be working on how to add the revisions. There's so much logic in this indicator. Thank you. I love that. It is a time saver. I saved up for pro. I signed up for pro. Thank you. Great job. Thank you so much, Karen. Effective for stock searching comparison, also useful for tracking and comparing current holdings. Thank you so much. Oh, you purchased the pro package as well, Neil. Thank you. Well, I'm really excited. I love teaching. I love trading, and I'm very excited about this tool. And I'm looking really forward to it. So I appreciate all of you spending some time with me. I know it went a little bit late tonight. What are the dates for the live trading? It's going to be right here, February 19th and 20th. And then there's going to be a bonus session. I don't know why that didn't get on there. It's going to be a bonus session on the 21st for the first 250 purchasers of this package, and you'll get an extra 3 hours. Excellent, Danielle, from the idea to creating this product to the presentation. All very well done. Thank you so much. Sherry. All right, well, make sure if you have any other questions that you can email support@simplertrading.com or just email me, Danielle@simplertrading.com. Yes, all the live sessions are recorded. All the live sessions are recorded. Everything we do is recorded. It's like the trading NSA here. Thank you, Craig. That's really sweet. All right. Well, if that is all of the questions, I apologize if I missed anyone. Like I said, there's a ton of questions going by. Well, please let me know. And I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you very much. Have an excellent rest of your evening.